Hey, what's up everybody? Dr. Strong. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. And today we're going to be talking about one of the most popular trends in the health and fitness space today, intermittent fasting. We're going to be diving into what intermittent fasting is, how you can do it properly, and just some of the benefits that come along with it. Like I mentioned, intermittent fasting is one of the world's most popular health and fitness trends currently. And besides assisting with weight loss, intermittent fasting has many additional health benefits, which I will share throughout this video. Now, by definition, intermittent fasting is an eating pattern that involves regular short-term fasts or periods of minimal or no food consumption. Intermittent fasting is an eating pattern where you cycle between periods of eating and fasting. So it's really as simple as that. Here is the most common way that intermittent fasting is performed. You start your eating at noon and your last meal at 8 p.m. This is a 16 and 8 cycle. Now there are different cycles that you can use for the length of period, but most of the time what they do is they state two different numbers, and that can indicate how long they're fasting for and how long they're eating for. And you can vary this however you want to. Some people do like an 18 and 6. Some people do like a 12 and a 12. So it really just varies on what you want to do and what you're trying to accomplish. So you are technically fasting for 16 hours every day and restricting your eating to an 8-hour eating window. Now, this is the most popular form of intermittent fasting, known as the 16 and 8 method. Now, like I said, there are different numbers that you can use for your fasting window and then your eating window, but 16 and 8 is generally the most used. The following are 8 evidence-based health benefits of intermittent fasting. Now, 1, there is a significant positive impact on insulin levels and human growth hormone, HGH. So that is the reparative hormone. That's what helps everything grow, muscle tissue, brain tissue, whatever it may be. If it needs to grow in your body, HGH is what is responsible. Now, we talk a lot about insulin in some of my past videos, so if you haven't heard about how you can control your insulin levels and your blood sugar through diet, and those are a little bit more specific, and the foods that you can eat, what type of foods need to contain like fibers, proteins, fats, that can help the insulin response. You can go back and watch those videos as well. Now, while intermittent fasting has been found to decrease insulin levels, HGH levels will increase. Now, this all facilitates fat burning. Intermittent fasting, in turn, has a positive impact on reversing insulin resistance. Studies indicate that fasting can help boost your HGH levels. One such study found that after a 3-day fast, your HGH levels increase by more than 300%. A week later, they go up by a whopping 1,250%. So that's pretty incredible. So if you're looking, and now HGH, people will typically use that like bodybuilders to grow and gain muscle. Now, why is this important? Now, you don't have to be a bodybuilder in order to utilize this. If you are looking at aging in general and you want to maintain more muscle mass and more reparative tissue, or if you're getting chronically injured all the time, then this may be something that you want to try out, because that HGH can really help the bone, muscle, ligament, soft tissue repair at a higher rate. Intermittent fasting has been found effective in helping you lose weight, but even more important, in losing visceral fat. So that looks like fat around the organs and the abdominal area and the love handles. Now, visceral fat is the harmful fat in the abdominal cavity, which causes disease. Short-term fasting can actually increase your metabolic rate, which is pretty cool, helping you burn even more calories. Now, you need to be careful about that, because there is one caveat to it. And the issue is that if you aren't eating the appropriate amount of calories during that 8-hour window, then you can actually downregulate your thyroid hormone, and it will cause you to gain even more weight. So you have to be very careful about hormonal control, and still your calorie consumption is very key when you're doing intermittent fasting, which is a good thing, because you can still eat a lot and you can still eat the appropriate amount of foods, but you just have to be careful that you are getting the appropriate amount of calories, especially if you are exercising a lot or doing a lot of physical activity. Now, Several studies show that intermittent fasting may enhance the body's resistance to oxidative stress. Now, everybody is stressed out. There's been a lot happen over the last few years, and stress is one thing that I harp on a lot because it regulates, especially the hormone cortisol, regulates your blood glucose levels, regulates inflammation, immune system, and then also regulates your metabolism. So if you are secreting a lot of cortisol, if you're getting a lot of inflammation in the body, if you're getting oxidative stress, then you think about rusting from the inside out. Now, when we look at cars and they're rusty, they don't go very far. They break down a lot faster. So if we can reduce the amount of oxidative stress, we keep you as pristine as possible, just like an old vintage car, instead of one that you see kind of in a field somewhere that's just been exposed to the elements, that is just rusted away. So think about oxidative stress in that way. Now, intermittent fasting has been found to be effective in reducing inflammation, so that correlates with oxidative stress as well. Mount Sinai researchers found that fasting reduces inflammation and improves chronic inflammatory diseases without affecting the immune system's response to acute infections, which is great. So you can still have some sort of inflammation because it's necessary. It's a necessary part of life to fight off these infections, but you don't have it chronically and all the time. So if you're struggling with any type of autoimmune condition, fibro, RA, then this may be something that you want to look into more to reduce the amount of inflammation in your body, especially if you're having chronic joint pain. Intermittent fasting has been found to be beneficial for heart health. So lowering triglycerides, LDL, and lowering blood pressure are just a few of the cardiovascular benefits. Now, I have another video that we talk about cholesterol, and then there is another one that talks about the unknown lab that your doctor should be running on you if you're worried about your arteries being plaqued up, if you're worried about heart disease, if you're worried about a heart attack or stroke, then you definitely want to have your doctor check out those labs. So check out that video. I go in more depth there, and then why that plaquing occurs and what the root cause to it. Promising evidence of animal studies actually indicates that intermittent fasting or diets that mimic fasting may help prevent cancer. So this is pretty cool. Now, cancer is usually a mitochondrial problem, and in one of my videos where we talk about insulin resistance, we know that the mitochondria, especially if they're unable to get glucose into them, can actually malfunction, and that can throw off their energy cycles, and that can lead to a lot of these proliferations of cells that are cancer or carcinogenic in nature. Now, intermittent fasting can actually help increase your insulin sensitivity and help you uptake glucose and help those cells regulate a lot better. Intermittent fasting shows promise in improving brain health. So if you have somebody that's suffering with dementia or Alzheimer's, then you may want to look at helping them with this. It is very hard to, work with those types of patients or those types of family members, but it can be so beneficial. Now, there is strong evidence that forms of intermittent fasting can delay the onset and progression of Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's disease in animal models. Now, be aware that that is in animals. And in animal studies, intermittent fasting has been shown to increase longevity, improve cognitive function, and reduce brain plaque as compared with animals fed a regular diet. Now, this was said by Alan Anderson, an MD, director of the Banner Alzheimer's Institute in Tuscan. Now, one of the most exciting applications of intermittent fasting may be that its ability to extend lifespan. In one of the study, researchers zeroed in on how fasting impacts lifespan. About 2,000 people who had undergone a cardiac catheterization procedure were followed for an average of 4.4 years, including 389 routine fasters who had been fasting regularly for at least 5 years. After adjusting for various factors, researchers discovered that the routine fasters had a 45% lower mortality rate than the non-fasters during the follow-up period. So that's pretty cool. So not only will you have a better quality of life, but you'll also have a longer life, which is basically what I think we all want. We all want to feel better, we all want to live longer, and we want to enjoy the life that we have and be able to do the things that we do without hurting. So intermittent fasting can be a really good tool in using this. Always consult with your doctor. If you have any questions, put them below. More than happy to answer questions on this. Now, I have messed around with this and I do it a little bit differently for me personally on what works the best because of my physical activity level and then just my daily routine. So it can, either work really well if you're working long hours, you can use that window to kind of consolidate down, but you want to be sure, like I said, to get those calories in during that feeding window. Now, besides the intermittent fasting having value in weight loss, its benefits extend beyond that, and it can help you live a longer and all-around healthier life. Now, according to studies involving animals and humans, so there are studies with humans, but we still are pretty early in the research and the chronic long-term benefits of it, but there are a lot of promising studies. Now, if you found this information helpful, then please help me achieve my mission of helping as many people as possible by hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate your support, and this helps my content and message reach more people who could be struggling and need to hear this information. So you can also share this video on your socials or with your friends or families, especially if you know anybody that may be struggling with one of these issues or maybe your parents. I know that there are certain things that I have told my parents that have drastically changed their health. They are not as sick as some of their counterparts that they grew up with because they have heeded some of the advice that I've given them. So that has been a true blessing for me and my family, and I hope it is for yours as well. So thank you again so much for watching this video, and I look forward to hearing from you. Have a great day. Bye-bye.